Hi everyone! This is Smita from the blog Smiling Colors with a fun project shared today. It's a scrap fabric DIY that is both whimsical and cute. A fun way to use over some leftover fabrics you might have in your stash and make an adorable home decor item. So here's how I made it. I pulled out a bunch of felt scraps. I rarely throw any felt, so I had a lot of these to choose from. I also pulled out a pile of fabrics from my stash. Nothing is larger than half a yard here. I had a lot of pretty trims and lace on hand that I've collected over the years, so I gathered a few of those to use on this pillow as well. I also needed a strong fabric glue because I'm not sewing today. This whole pillow is glued together. Because I'm not sewing, I like to use a good pair of pinking shears so that there are fewer stray threads of fabric. And that's it, let's get started. I sketched out a rough shape of what I wanted the house roof shape to be, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut out two of these. I have already cut out a few squares and rectangles out of my fabric scraps, and I'm arranging them here to form the main body of the house. I made sure that the top of this is the same width as the base of my roof shape. That's all you really need to make sure of. I'm going to start adhering the fabrics together now. This bottle actually comes with a narrower tip that I somehow broke while opening, so there's that. I'm going to start by adding glue along the seam. Always apply the glue onto the right side of the fabric. My main tip while using a no sewing glue, don't apply too much of it. Too much glue will just squirt out of the seam and make a mess. Apply less and just spread it evenly and press down firmly. I'm going to repeat this onto the other two fabric blocks. So when you're cutting your fabric blocks, make sure that you're allowing for at least a 1/4 inch seam allowance all around. Now I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes. Now these are the pieces I've cut and glued for the front of the pillow. They have been drying for about 10 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and apply the glue to the back along the seam so that the seam is now glued to one side of the fabric. This is optional, but it's very much like adding a top stitch over your seam. It just makes sure everything lays down in place nicely. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue all the pieces together so we have the front of the house pillow ready. Now I'm repeating the same thing with the back of the house. You can glue as many fabric pieces as you need to make this. Just use whatever fabric scraps you have in your stash, glue them together to form a nice rectangle for the house body. Okay, so now we have a front and a back and two roof pieces. So I'm going to start decorating the front of the house a little bit. First, some of this pretty eyelet lace. I'm going to add this to the bottom of the roof here. To do that, I'm first adding glue on top of the house, and then I'm laying the lace. Then I'm adding another bead of glue onto the lace and then placing the roof piece onto it. Since there are 3 layers of fabric here, I'm going to place some clips to hold things together for a few minutes till the glue sets. Now I'm going to add a door shape that I cut from some felt. I'm also adding 2 windows and little fabric like flowers. I added some trim around the windows again with the glue. While gluing down the window and the door, remember that there is a 1/4 inch seam allowance on either side, so center it accordingly. Next, I'm gluing down the roof onto the back. And now we just need to glue the 2 pieces together to form a pillow. We're almost there. I start gluing the pillow by gluing the roof areas together first. And then I continue to glue downwards. I just want to glue the sides of the house. I will glue the bottom of the house after stuffing the pillow. The glue is dried for about 15 minutes now, and let's see if this worked. I'm going to turn the pillow inside out and voila! It's looking good. I do have one side glued a little crooked, but I think that goes with the whimsical feel of the pillow, so I'm just going to leave it as is. I stuffed the pillow with the polyfill, and to shut the pillow close, I folded the seam in and then applied glue along it and held it in place with a few clips for a few minutes. In hindsight, and this is the only thing I would probably change about this project, I would recommend that you leave at least an inch of seam allowance for the bottom of the pillow. That would make gluing the pillow shut much easier. I had left only about a 1/4 inch, and I still was able to get the seam glued into place, but I did end up getting glue all over my fingers in the process. It was a little messy, but it worked in the end, so I'm really happy about it. Now to add some final finishing touches. A button for the door handle. I may not be sewing anything today, but I chose a contrasting color of embroidery floss and I threaded the button with it tied it in place. It's ready to be glued on, but first I grabbed a few Nuvo drops. These are like dimensional paints. You could use any fabric paint you have or even a fabric marker to add some details. I'm just adding the Nuvo crystal drops around the door and also gluing the button handle in place. I added a few lines around to the windows and some scallop design along the fabric joint here. You can add as much or as little details as you want. And that's it! My whimsical house pillow is ready, and best of all, it was made of just fabric scraps. And the no-sew technique works very well here. By not pulling out my sewing machine, I saved at least 30 minutes of project time. I will leave more information about the tools I used and the finished dimensions of this project in my blog post. So make sure you head over to my website www.smilingcolors.com. I'm going to leave you here with 2 of my previous videos. This felt flower pillow is an absolute favorite of mine, and another no-sew project. Happy crafting, my friends!